Biden whistleblower Gal Luft now being prosecuted by Joe Biden's DOJ. Gal came out, released a video, says he's got all sorts of evidence on Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family. Says he met with the DOJ, was exposing all of this. They turned around, took that meeting, and said, no, we think you're actually the criminal, not Hunter, not Joe, and now they are prosecuting him. In his video, which we covered at length here, if you missed that video, certainly stick around and watch the full video. But in the video, he detailed that he's already been under indictment. He's already been prosecuted. He knew about it, but we didn't know about it. The indictment was unsealed. In the video, Luft says, unseal it. Let everybody see what's out there. Well, now it has been unsealed. And so we're going to go through the full thing and we'll play a game with ourselves, asking ourselves, if we did a find and replace of Gal Luft with Hunter Biden, would the DOJ care? No, they don't care, because we've seen no charges coming for Hunter other than basic misdemeanor charges and a felony diversion. So when these charges got announced, came across this interesting clip from MSNBC before we dig into the indictment and reaction from Congress. This journalist, so-called, on MSNBC was pretty excited about this news because the whistleblower was very damaging to the left. He was implicating Joe Biden in all sorts of criminality. That's a big no-no. So if he gets indicted, people on the left still believe in their minds that the DOJ is a legitimate institution and that they actually pursue justice in America. And so when somebody gets indicted like this, they think, oh, that's a legitimate thing that's happening, without really recognizing that it's a corrupt entity. So she gets very excited about it because the indictment of the whistleblower is going to exonerate her side. But this guest, very careful about the phrasing of the alleged crimes. And he also reveals another fact for us on MSNBC that I really think implicates Hunter. Here's what it sounded like.
Prosecutors have now indicted the man who repeatedly, but without substantiation, accused the Biden family of corruption.
Nice intro.
A copy of the indictment, reviewed by NBC News, reveals a host of charges against Gal Luft for operating as an unregistered foreign agent, working to advance the interests of China in the United States.
Did Hunter do that? Did Hunter advance the interests of China in the United States?
I want to bring in NBC News investigation correspondent Tom Winter. What more can you tell us about this? This guy considered himself some sort of whistleblower. In fact, this charge suggests he was more of a spy?
Well, yeah, and I want to be clear about that. So when you don't register as a foreign agent, you're not technically conducting espionage on their behalf, but you're putting forward their interests. And that's really one of the key components of the charges here. As you said, somebody trying to advance the interests of China in also several companies there, including CEFC and another company that was supplying arms allegedly to various countries overseas.
So you see these counts. We're going to go through the indictment: violating Arms Export Control Act, making false statements, and conspiracy to violate Foreign Agents Registration Act.
That was a whole host of other violations. But the reason why this person is in the news, the reason why we're talking about him is that he's somebody who came forward and said that he had information involving Hunter Biden and the Biden family, that they received millions of dollars from individuals tied to Chinese intelligence, that Hunter Biden had some sort of mole within the FBI that was providing him information. We haven't seen any of those allegations substantiated.
Not yet. He's on the run. He had a meeting with the DOJ where he purportedly gave them all of that information. They just turned around and charged him with it, but not Hunter.
House Oversight Committee, particularly Congressman Comer, said, look, this is somebody he thought had serious allegations against the Bidens. And he came forward in March 2019 to tell FBI agents and federal agents about these alleged crimes that Luft says that he was aware of. Well, we know that that meeting's true, but we also know at that meeting, he allegedly, according to the indictment, which was unsealed yesterday, but filed last year, that in fact he lied at that meeting. According to the Justice Department, he lied about his involvement.
Lied about the involvement, but Gal Luft says that the same people who were at that DOJ meeting were the same people who picked up the Hunter Biden laptop, right? It's the same people who've been running around cleaning up the garbage that the Bidens have been leaving behind their wake of criminality.
The Chinese companies, so they have immediate questions about his credibility. As an old boss of mine said, as soon as there is one definite fact that is wrong in your story, the whole story is in question. And I think that
unless you're the White House, who lies to us constantly, the most recent iteration about cocaine.
At the moment, that's where the Justice Department is. If you're not telling us the truth on one hand, how can we start to believe you on the other hand, on the other things that you bring forward to us? So he's a fugitive of law. He's somebody who went missing after was initially arrested in Cyprus, and somebody that the Justice Department is actively looking for.
So he's somebody who suggested something illegal was going on, for which there are no charges against the Biden family, but now.
Yeah, no charges for Biden, though. So he's saying that it was illegal, but they didn't charge Hunty.
Against.
To be clear, against him. And to be clear, the idea that the Bidens, specifically Hunter Biden and another family member, that they received money from CEFC for a business contract, we've established that. I could have told you that a year ago. We reported it. It's
true.
Close to $5 million. So some of the things he...
Whoa. So he just told her to her face. Look at that face, too. He's like, Hunter hasn't been charged, but he definitely got $5 million from CEFC, the same entity that this guy got money from. He's like, yeah, and without saying it, he's saying it, right? So here it is one more time. It's quick. It's funny.
Said something illegal was going on for which there are no charges against the Biden family, but now.
And to be clear, against him, and to be clear, the idea that the Bidens, specifically Hunter Biden and another family member, that they received money from CEFC for a business contract, we've established that. I could have told you that a year ago. We reported it. It's close to $5 million. So some of the things he has said are true, but they're also verifiable public information. Where this goes from here and whether or not there's an active investigation into the allegations he brought against the Bidens, well, that's something we continue to report out.
So he's basically saying, you know, oh, he could have gotten that information from public sources or something else. It's just hysterical because he's being charged for being for not registering as a foreign agent of China. And Hunter got $5 million from CEFC. But MSNBC's not covering that story, are they? No, they're not. They're covering the indictment. So let's take a look at exactly what's going on here. This is the indictment against Gal Luft, filed by the U.S. Department of Justice. He is the whistleblower who is implicating Joe Biden. And so as we go through this, we'll hit the highlights. It's 58 pages. But we can always ask ourselves whether Hunter Biden, if you did a Control F and a Control R, find and replace on this, if we replace Gal Luft with Hunter Biden, what would the DOJ do with this material? Probably just put it right in the shredder, right? Probably wouldn't even blink an eye. Let's see. All right, so they say Gal Luft is a dual Israeli citizen engaged in multiple schemes, including with China. He agreed to covertly recruit and pay high-ranking government officials, former high-ranking government officials, which this matches his story. He was saying that he was doing business writing articles, all right? So every time they say stuff like this, covertly recruit and pay, what Gal Luft said was writing an article, just so we're clear, all right? Writing an article on behalf of a former high-ranking U.S. government official. Yeah, it's true. Happens all the time. They all leave their former high-ranking positions, just like James Baker did when he went over to Twitter. Left the FBI, went over to Twitter. Are they prosecuting Twitter for somebody writing articles? It's language that is conjugated to make it massively impactful, including when he was an advisor to then President-elect Biden to publicly support certain Chinese policies. He was brokering deals in violation of the law, brokering things with Iranian oil and international, with or without authorization, in violation of the law. So here's some more information about it. They say that he has a think tank. He was born in Israel, naturalized citizen, 2004. He has a PhD, University of Maryland, served co-director, nonprofit think tank called The Think Tank, described as a global energy security company, 1998 until a certain time. Wrote, did speeches, traveled internationally, attended meetings. Since 2017, been outside the United States. Now, individual one, wonder who this is. At all times relevant to this indictment, the think tank managed projects, including various groups with various cabinet-level extra government advisory committees. CC1 is a Chinese national. So this person here, individual one, a former senior U.S. government official, individual one co-founded the group, and he was a senior advisor at all times. So CC1 is another person, Chinese national, formerly worked with the CEFC. They say that CC1, the Chinese national, offered Gal Luft annual payments of $350 grand from CEFC to the think tank. That's pretty cheap. $350,000 a year? I mean, what did Hunter get? Like $5 million? That's cheap. So in return for this payment, CC1 and Luft agreed that they would jointly host an international meeting in a major U.S. city on energy security issues. And then they would get an honorary energy position with the energy group. All right, so they're just creating, like AstroTurf things. They sent some money for $350,000. I think that's an illegal amount. If CEFC sends Gal Luft $350,000, that's illegal. But if they send Hunter Biden $5 million, no problem. Starting in 2015 and continuing into November, Think Tank and CEFC co-sponsored multiple conferences. So they're setting up little events, pitch a tent somewhere. CC2 is working with the Chinese Chinese defense company. They're moving funds around and they're recruiting and educating individual one so that he would make public statements. And again, this is where he's talking about writing the articles. He's going to ghostwrite an article for individual one. That is what we heard from Gal Luft. He says that there were other transactions. Now here we get, wow, illicit weapons deals. Wow. And this is where he was just shocked by this. In his video, he said, no, this is what? This is nuts. I've never sold a bullet in my life. But they say that, detailed below, that he attempted to broker arms deals with Chinese individuals in Libya and Kenya. He traveled to meetings, received documentation to broker the arms deal. Let's see. They say he attempted and agreed to broker arms deals with Iranian oil and Brazilian oil. So here's the counts. They say the grand jury says that the law says the following: the purpose of FARA, the law under which he's indicted, is to prevent covert influence by foreign principals. You got to register under the statute, unless you're Hunter. Among other things, FARA registration reveals the identity of the foreign principals. And so they say Luft tried to avoid this. And again, replace this with Hunter. Hunter agreed and engaged in political activities on behalf of the CEFC China, and CC1. All that is absolutely true. We've got email documentation about all of that. Luft began sending information about Belt Road initiatives, described an email in a private meeting with the chairman of CEFC, other emails saying we nailed it. He was advising a then presidential candidate who was elected president 2 months later. Look at this. So it's Biden. Biden is in this indictment. This is unbelievable. Biden is in this literal indictment, and Hunter is roaming free around the country. Around the world. On September 12, 2016, Gal Luft, the defendant, sent Chinese person one an email with the subject line, "We nailed it." And that included a link to the article announcing that individual one was advising Biden and Biden was elected president. In other words, if Gal Luft is guilty, everybody else in his purview, which as we know is Hunter and Joe and individual one, are all as well. They say the same day they were staying in New York. And these are conversations, sending emails, talking with CC1. The next day he wrote, there are certain topics that we should talk about, like various Sino-US issues, Chinese-US issues. And let's communicate these to the transition team. So implementing policy change, right? Actually like lobbying, but it's lobbying on behalf of a foreign nation. So I think that's where it becomes problematic. If he was doing it on behalf of, I don't know, Bud Light or something, companies wrecked, I think that he could do a lot of this and just file his disclosures with whatever. So the drafted response continues. They're still communicating back and forth, engaging in articles, dialoguing about articles. There's a contract, a consulting services agreement from individual two, $6,000 a month, not $83,000 that Hunter was getting from Burisma. Oh man, this guy's getting screwed. All right, look, he gets paid $6,000 a month in exchange for advice on energy and global security. $6,000 a month. Hunter was getting $83,000 a month for Burisma for advice on energy and global security. Not even close. Hunter's, I guess, much smarter though. Smartest man Joe knows. No mention of any of this. There was more purported dialogue. They're sending emails back and forth, and you just see what this is. Look, it's just a big, long list of the emails and the conversation. Individual one, email Gal Luft. Hey, we're going to write another article. And it's a bunch of lobbying going on. All right, so let's see if we can fast forward through some of the copy paste email stuff and I want to see the counts. All right, here's another count 2. Arms Export Control Act. Looks like some legal stuff. Here is his illegal trafficking activity. It says here, Luft worked to broker multiple deals to sell and deliver defense articles between foreign countries without a license, between China, Libya, and including anti-tank launchers, grenade launchers, and mortar rounds. Libya, they say Gal, the defendant, engaged in communications with Chinese person one regarding Luft serving as an intermediary for trafficking in arms. They refer to it as codename Toys. They say that CC1 emailed Luft, said, through a close friend of mine in Beijing, I can get you the toys needed in Libya. It's strictly a business deal. Someone has to foot the bill. Luft said, great, we'll meet him on the island and see what it's about. Toys. Interesting. Says, when do we meet with the other mischiefs? By the way, who is footing the money? Where's the money coming from? He said, attached, we've got funding mechanisms in place. And there was one document that had Ministry of Defense logos on it with the PDF on there. And so, I mean, if they have this evidence, right, that goes exactly against what Luft had said in his video. I never did anything close to this. So So I'll be very curious to see what this involves. And I stand with the presumption of innocence above all. Above all. At this moment in time, the DOJ deserves no benefit of the doubt in any way, shape, or form in my book. They have fabricated evidence against many people based on corrupt FBI agents and other malicious actors. We had not guilty verdicts in the Governor Whitmer plot. Should have been more not guilty verdicts. We had not guilty verdicts in the Proud Boys case. But all of these people have had evidence created and made up against them, including Donald Trump and his first impeachment with the Steele dossier that the FBI and the DOJ shoved down everybody's gullets. So even if this stuff sounds bad, I still stand with the presumption of innocence. And we're going to see where this goes. But it sounds like, right? It sounds like they've got emails. Luft says that they're looking for shopping lists. Says Kadar needs the toys. And so there's all these emails going back and forth. Luft said, looks like we have a middleman for Q. And they presumably have all of these emails in discovery. Count 3 is another one. Arms export controls, in the business of brokering deals for grenade launchers, man, mortar rounds. Count 4 is another violation. Okay, different countries. So Kenya's one, the UAE is another one. Same deals, same conversations, just in different countries. Then they say he lied, okay, made false statements to federal agents, met with others, made fraudulent statements during interviews at Brussels. All right. And so this is where people are now questioning his credibility. They're saying, well, maybe he made all this up because he was about to be indicted. And this is his defense strategy. Other people are saying maybe the whistleblowing is what is causing these charges to be brought. Count 7 says conspiracy to violate the International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Count 8, making false statements to the feds about the Iranian oil deals. They want all of his assets forfeited. Signed here by Damian Williams, Southern District of New York. So very interesting case. This has now been unsealed, and it is probably going to be a case that sits at hiatus status for some time. There will be a warrant issued until he is brought back and brought into U.S. custody. The case will be on hold. And so we're asking ourselves now, what does the White House say about this? Soon as he releases his video, they unseal the indictment. Soon as he meets with them, and it says he's going to expose Biden crime family, they start to indict him in the first place back in 2019. And so Congress is asking questions about it. Before we hear from Ron Johnson and James Comer, this is what Jake Sullivan had to say when he was asked about this at the White House.
Yesterday, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York indicted a man named Gal Luft for violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act by working without registration for a company called CEFC China Energy. The president's son and brother worked for the same firm without registration, and the president was invoked in that infamous shakedown text message receiving the transfer of $5 million to the Biden family. The president allegedly met with their business partners, was penciled in for a 10% cut, and was listed as a participant on a call about an attempt by U.S. natural gas by CFC. What's the White House's take on the potential fair liability, liability for the first family of the president here?
I've not seen that and can't comment on it. Yeah.
Wow. Great job, Jake. Thanks for that. What do you do? Again, haven't seen it, can't comment on it. So great long question. Said, you guys just indicted this guy for allegedly getting money from CEFC for foreign affairs. But we know that the Biden family also got that money from the CEFC for foreign affairs. Is there going to be a prosecution of Hunter also because of nobody being above the law, like you guys always tell us? I've not seen that. Can't comment on it. Next question. That's what they teach you at Oxford, apparently, those people over there. All right. So this is Ron Johnson. Now, he made this comment right before the news was breaking about the indictment being unsealed. But of course, he knows that he's already been indicted. But at the end of this clip, got a very interesting suggestion for us, maybe offering Gal Luft immunity.
When he heard that Joe Biden was going to be running for president, that alarmed him because he knew how compromised Joe Biden would be. So he met with 2 prosecutors from the Southern District of New York and 4 FBI agents in Brussels for 2 days in March of 2019. What's interesting about those individuals, one of the prosecutors from the Southern District of New York is the same prosecutor that prosecuted Patrick Ho, the money launderer that paid Hunter Biden $1 million to defend him. And in that that trial, he prevented the name of Biden's from being brought into court. Also, one of the FBI agents was the same agent then that signed the subpoena from the Hunter Biden laptop. So, what Dr. Luft has shown is the same financial transactions, the millions of dollars, the $100,000 per month retainer for Hunter, $65,000 for James Biden, paid by CEFC. He's got a wealth of information, but they never followed up on that meeting. Instead, they arrested him in Cyprus to silence him. They could have gone to Israel. He resides in Israel. We have extradition treaties, but they instead arrest him in Cyprus. He's literally fleeing for his life right now. Yeah. He's on the run. He's an important witness. He needs to be granted immunity to be able to testify and tell his story.
Congressional immunity, yeah. So wonder if that would work for them. They could, somehow orchestrate him getting into Congress to testify in front of Congress without the DOJ interfering in that process. We'd love to hear about it. So it sounds like it's an interesting question. We'll see if Congress gets serious about it. But Representative James Comer also was commenting on this, saying, we got some real interesting timing on this one. Very convenient that when this guy starts to pipe up about Joe Biden, they indict him and then they arrest him in Cyprus.
Congressman Comer, today, your reaction to the timing of that indictment?
Well, the timing is always coincidental, according to the Democrats at the Department of Justice. Look, here's what I know about Gal Luft. He was getting paid, like the Bidens, from CEFC. We want to speak with everyone that we can find who was also on the payroll of CEFC, like the Bidens. And anyone who says we shouldn't take Gal Luft's allegations seriously discounts the fact that the Bidens wanted to share office space with CEFC, even going so far as to saying that Hunter wanted to make an extra set of keys for both Joe Biden, Jill Biden, and the president's brother, Jim Biden. So this
Look at Jim.
company that Gal Luft was working for, who he was getting paid for, is the same company that the Bidens not only were getting paid for, they were also sharing office space with. So we definitely want to hear more about these allegations, and we want to see the notes from the FBI meeting. They sent 6 FBI agents, according to Gal Luft, to Brussels to interview him. I mean, obviously, they were concerned about something he had to say. There's some level of credibility there. So there are a lot of questions here, and it's just amazing the Department of Justice moves so quickly against some people. But then, Laura, the ultimate irony is one of the charges they levied against him was not being a registered foreign agent, which is the main thing that we've said the Bidens were
100%.
all along, unregistered foreign agents.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it's unbelievable. They charge him with the same thing. I mean, the dude was advising Joe Biden. So they don't care about that because it's all about political muscle. It's not about justice. It's not about stopping bad arms deals or something or being influenced by China. Hunter Biden was running around doing everything they're claiming this guy did times 1,000, but he just roams free because daddy's the president. To allow him to get hit with any of this stuff would jeopardize their hold on power. This guy also jeopardizes their hold on power. And so we'll continue to follow this case and stand up for the presumption of innocence as he continues to speak out about the Biden crime family. And my friends, thank you for inviting someone else that you know and love to come in and join us as we cover this case. He's going to need our support as this unfolds.